Hello, my name's Helen, and I'm going to tell you a story today. Is anybody here 5 years old? You're 5, are you? Who's 6 years old? Who goes to big school? I think you do. Yes, you do. Well, I was very excited because I was 5 years old and I just started big school. And what was even nicer, I had a big sister, so each morning I would hold her hand and she would walk to school to look after me. One day, as we were walking along, she said, "See that man walking in front of us?" I looked and he looked very important. He was standing very straight as he walked and he had a suit on and he was holding a case and he looked a little bit like this. Would you like somebody like to hold it? No, I'll leave it there, shall I? Okay. She said, "Do you know who that man is?" My sister said. "He is the headmaster of the school." I said, "What's the headmaster?" She said, "He's the boss of the whole school. He's even the boss of the teachers." Oh, that sounded very important. I didn't want to walk any closer to him, and then she said, "He's got an office. And do you know what happens if you have to go to his office?" She said, "Only the very naughty children go to his office. And when he's there, when the children are there, he gives them 6 of the best." Do you know what 6 of the best was? Well, this was in the olden days when I was just a little girl, and the teachers weren't kind like they are today. They had a big strap like this. And the naughty, naughty children would go to the headmaster's office, my sister said, and the headmaster would hold the strap like that, and he'd say, "Put out your hand," she said, and she showed me. They had to put out their hands like this, and he would hit them very, very hard. 1, 2, 3 times on that hand, and then they had to put out their other hand. 1, 2, 3 times he'd hit that hand, 6 times. And my sister said, even the big boys, it hurt them. They would come back to class crying. I didn't want to be naughty like them. I didn't want to go to his office. The thing I liked about school was on Fridays the teacher used to say, "Now we're going to have craft." Who likes craft at school? You don't have to do much work, do you? You just paint and cut, and it's good fun. But the thing I liked the very best was the teacher would bring out a box and she would pass it around to all the children, and inside were lovely little scissors, just the right size for 5-year-old hands. I had never had scissors at home. I wasn't even allowed to touch them. They were kept in a special drawer. And now I could use scissors by myself. At the end of the craft, the teacher would say, "Children, put all the scissors back in the box," and we'd put our silver scissors back in the box, and I would feel a little bit sad. But then I had a very good idea. Next time it was craft, and we had to put the scissors back in the box. Do you know what I did? I didn't put my scissors back. I put them in my pocket. And walking home, I thought about those scissors in my pocket, and I thought that wasn't such a good idea. Somebody at home would see them, and I wouldn't be able to use them. So I thought, I know, I'll hide them. And what's a good place that children hide things? Under my bed. Well, it wasn't very long after that when I went down to the kitchen one morning, the scissors were sitting on the bench. Oh dear, somebody had found them. And there was an envelope sitting beside them. And the lady that was looking after my sister and I said to my sister, "You have to take this envelope," and she opened it and she put the scissors in the envelope and she said, "I want you to take these to," what does it say? To the headmaster's office. My goodness. We were walking to school and my sister was saying, "I'm ashamed of you." She said, "You're a robber." And I was trying not to cry. And we got to the office, and there was a lady that looked after the headmaster and did her his typing for her. She was sitting there. My sister gave her the envelope. She opened it and she read the letter, and then she looked at me. She looked terribly grumpy, didn't she? And I was so frightened, I was shaking. And then she opened the headmaster's door and she said, "Come with me." I really had to go into the headmaster's office. And I thought, I'm going to get six at the best. I didn't look up. I stood in front of his desk and I had my head down. My legs were shaking like this, and all I could think of, which hand will I put up first? And then I felt him coming round and stood in front of me. And he said, what do you think he said? "Put out your hand." I put out my hand like this. And do you know what happened? He put the scissors in my hands. And he said, "Helen," that's my name, "come with me. We've got to make this right." And he took my other hand, and I was holding the scissors. My hand was all wet because I'd been shaking so much. And he took my hand and walked all across the playground to where the teacher's room was that I was supposed to go to. So the teacher saw the headmaster there standing by the door, and she came over quickly, and the headmaster said, "Helen has something to give you." And I kept my head down still and held out the scissors, and I said, "I'm sorry I stole your scissors." And do you know what she said? She said, "I'm very glad you're sorry, and I forgive you, but don't do that again, will you?" Who does that remind you of? The headmaster was very kind, the teacher was very kind, and they were forgiving. And when I got bigger and I learned about Jesus, that's just what he was like, wasn't he? So when you do something naughty, you just think about Jesus and how sorry you are for being naughty to mummy and daddy or anybody else. And you too can be kind like Jesus to other children too. Now, before you go back to your seats, because you've been sitting so nice, I've got something for you all. How many little ones are there here? Where's the... Now, because I know you'll be very good and quiet, and you'll you'll listen very quietly. Who would like this? I think the bigger boys might like something different to do. One. Everybody got one now? I think everybody's got one. You can go back to your seats now.